Welcome to my May TBR, a romantacy May, if I may. Love is in the air. So here in May I was thinking about reading a lot of romantacy books because it's spring and summer is coming really soon. But I am filming this almost in the middle of May, so I'm not gonna get to that many books that I have on my TBR list, but hopefully I can get to some. I have so many series as well, so I cannot get to them all. But anyways, romantacy is just one of my favorite genres and I really just love it so much. So that's why I really want to get to read a lot of more books and find new favorites. That's really what I want. I'm not always into all the smuttiness of it. Yeah, but you know, it's also sometimes it's just okay as well. I don't know. I know that can really divide people, but yeah, sometimes it's just really cringe. But if you like romantasy as well, I hope that you can find some inspiration here. And sometimes I just like romantasy a bit more than romance books in general, because romance books tends to be a bit, you know, it's not something that you haven't read before. I think it's quite rare that you find a romance book that's kind of like really stands out to the others, but with romantasy there's always a different magic world around the romance, and yeah, that's really great. So let's get into all the books that I found and let's find some new favorites in May and maybe in June and July, because there is a lot of books on here. Right now the most popular series that's out there is the Enchanted series, and I would definitely recommend that too. It is also a smutty series, so if you're not into that, then don't read that. But I think that's definitely what's trending out there, romantasy wise. But I tried to find a lot of other series that I haven't gotten to yet, and there's a lot. So yeah, let's get into it. Sarah J. Maas wrote the Enchanted series, but she also wrote Throne of Glass, and that's also a series, and there's a lot of books in that series. I have been thinking about reading those, but they have also gotten a lot of negative comments, so I'm not sure. But yeah, I think I'm gonna read them because I did like Agatha so much. I honestly don't know what it is about, but I think it is romantasy as well. Yeah, so we'll see. But right now I am reading an Ember in the Ashes series by Sabaa Tahir. And this is a quartet, and it's about Elia and Elias. And Elia is a slave and Elias is a mask who is an assassin, and they are supposed to be enemies, but they want the same thing, and they work together and are trying to bring down the bad empire. Right now I'm in the middle of book 2, and yeah, so far so good. It's YA young adult, but I don't mind. Yeah, I'm definitely going to continue that, but that's a quartet, so that's already a lot of books for May. I also started to read The Cruel Prince. I'm listening to an Ember in the Ashes series, and then I was like, maybe I could read The Cruel Prince series at the same time. So that's what I'm doing. All of these books are actually from my audiobook library, and there's ebooks there as well. So that's why I don't have them in like a physical form. Yeah, for me that's just way easier because I do listen to a lot of audiobooks. So The Cruel Prince is by Holly Black, and it's about fairies. The whole series is called Folk of the Air. And I only got through the first chapter, but a girl is getting kidnapped along with her sisters to this fae land, and they are a member of like the High Court. But to win a place at this High Court, they have to go through some trials, and that's what they want to do. And there's a prince, and I think it's like an enemies to lovers stories, and this series also got so much hype, so that's why I really want to read it as well. I think this is also categorized as YA again, but yeah, we'll see. There's 4 or 5 books in this series, so again, a really long series. The next book that I put on my TBR list is Enchanted, and it's by Rebecca Ross, and this is a duet. And I really do want to read something by Rebecca Ross. She is such a popular author right now. And there's also the series Divine Rivals. I don't know if that series is finished though. So that's why I want to start with the Enchanted River. And this one is about a girl who can control water, as far as I know. And from her village, girls are being kidnapped. And she's trying to find them with some guy. That's what I know, but it sounded really interesting and it has really good rates. So I really want to get to this one. Rebecca Ross also wrote Dreams Lie Beneath, and that sounded really interesting too, and the cover just looks really great. That one is a standalone, so that's quite good. And the next one on my list is also a standalone, and that's by Naomi Novik, and this one is called Spinning Silver. I did read the first 50 pages on this one like last year, but then we had to go to the hospital and I had to deliver the book back to the library, so I didn't get to finish it. But what I read was good, so I definitely want to continue. I just think I'm going to start over again. But it's about a girl, and her father is a moneylender, but then she takes over his business. And the magic system in this world is quite vague. I don't know what the love interest is yet, but I heard in another YouTube video that this was a good romantacy standalone, so I am hoping to get to this one. But yeah, if you're not into like a vague magic system, then maybe this is not your book, or at least so that's what I heard. But yeah, we'll see. I do like the cover as well, so yeah, that sounds really interesting. The next book is also a series, and that's the Infernal Devices by Cassandra Clare. And my husband did read these books, which is a bit weird, but I don't know why he picked those. But he said for romantasy, this was actually okay to read for a guy as well, so maybe that's a good sign. It's the prequel to the Mortal Devices, but I heard that this prequel should be a lot better than the Mortal Devices series, and there's supposed to be like a love triangle in this series. So yeah, that sounds interesting. I know it's about Tessa, I think, and her brother is missing and she's trying to find him, and then she meets these two shadow hunters and they can help her. And I know it takes place like in the 18th century, but yeah, I really want to get to this series as well. I think this is also YA, young adult, so there's a lot of young adult series in here. It is sometimes a little bit hard to find romantasy for adults, but I think that's where Sarah J. Maas is good. But if you're not into the smuttiness, then it's quite difficult to find an adult romantasy book. But I don't know, maybe I get surprised. Then I just found a new book on my audiobook app, and that's When the Moon Hats by Sarah A. Parker. And I heard great things about this book as well. It's about a woman who is an assassin in a rebellious group, but somehow she gets tricked and she ends up in prison. And then it's about this man who just lost his wife, and somehow he also finds himself in this prison. And I think that's where they meet, and then maybe they try to save the world. I don't know, I'll have to see, but it sounded really interesting. I don't know if this is going to be a series or not. I have to check that out, because if it is, I think I'm going to wait to read this, because I do like to start a series when it's like finished, because then I know that it will be finished. But yeah, we'll have to see. Then there's the Legacy series by Melissa Roehrich, I think her name is. This one is about gods and their legacies, and they gave their legacies so much power, so they just put them into another world. And in this world, Fays are the legacy's slaves. And then it's about one of these Fays. I don't know if they're slaves exactly, but they're definitely servants to the legacies. And yeah, that's what I know. I think it's a trilogy, and it sounded really interesting, and it also got good ratings. So yeah, I do want to get to this. But yeah, another series. I don't know if this one is YA or adult actually. I did read that it could be triggering, so be sure to read the trigger warnings in this one. Yeah, moving on to the next one. Then there is another series on here, and it's A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair. And this one is an Hades and Persephone's retelling. And I think it's one of the retellings with a more happy ending. I don't know much about Persephone's and Hades' stories, but I know it's about Hades kidnapping Persephone. But yeah, Hades is the leader of the dead, and then Persephone has to live in his world. Yeah, so that's what I know, and I'll have to see. But it sounds really interesting, and I do want to read one of Hades and Persephone's stories. There's so many out there, and I didn't know about it before I got into book 2, actually. So now to the interesting part. And don't laugh, but I got the Vampire Academy series, the complete series, and the sequel as well. This one, I think it's from... Okay, when is the first book from? So she wrote the first book in 2007, and we shall meet. And I absolutely loved these books when I was a teenager. She wrote the last book. I think this is the last book, I'm not sure. In 2015. I just loved the series when I was a teenager, and of course, because it's from 2007, this is a series about vampires. But it's about vampires and dampires, and some bad vampires. It's about Rose, who is a dampire, and dampire are like the protectors of the vampires, and she is a protector of one of the royal vampires. I cannot remember her name, but they're best friends. Then her trainer, Rose's trainer, that's where it might be a little bit problematic today, but there's a little love story going on there. But I just really loved it back then, so I really do want to give it a reread one day, and maybe this summer is the time to do it. I don't know if it aged well, but the romance in here was just really great, and I just absolutely loved it, and I couldn't get enough when I was a teenager. When I was a teenager and a sad little girl. Anyways, I did not get to read the sequel back then because it wasn't out yet, and then I never did it, so I do want to read that as well. The first couple of books were quite cringe, and then it just got better and better and better. Book 6 was just really, really great. Yeah, so I can't wait. So that's 12 books. Maybe this could be a June project. So here in May, my goal is to paint the terrace. Maybe I can put some clips in of how it looks right now. And I do want to make like a May vlog here in May, and the vlog is supposed to be about me painting the terrace and maybe do other gardening stuff. But next week we are going to Copenhagen, to a place where we're also meeting other families with kids that has cerebral palsy, and we're gonna stay there for a week, and it's gonna be great, I think. But I'm not sure if I can get to read as much as I want, so there's a lot of books to be read in no time. I hope you found a lot of inspiration here. Now don't go walking and reading at the same time because you found so much inspiration. You gotta look up, okay? Don't go into things. And yeah, I'll see you in my May vlog. And I will paint the terrace. I have talked about it a lot, but I will do it. Okay, you have a good day, and yeah, I'll see you.